I don't think Stipe talked about that man's kids, Chael.
Not a
Stipe
word.
wouldn't talk about anyone's kids. Stipe's
Not
the
one
nicest
word.
guy.
Total misunderstanding. Whatever happened there, Stipe was 100% innocent. What's happening, guys? Welcome to another episode of Good Guy, Bad Guy. I'm Chael, he's Daniel, and we got a lot to get to. DC, where should we begin?
I mean, we got to start with the news that floored me, Chael. It floored me. Chael, sometimes there are ones that get away, right? Remember that girl that you, the girl that you chased way back in the day? I can't remember her name. It was
Shannon.
the girl that, what was her name? The one
Shannon.
What was her name?
Shannon.
Shannon. Yeah, the one that got away, Shannon, right? Shannon got away. Now, when you ultimately end up with Miss Brittany, you go, okay, Shannon. Hey, I was there, chill. It's like, okay, I missed you for a moment, Shannon, but now, so long, right? We have never gotten over the fact that the one that we lost was Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. Tony once tripped over a wire at Fox Sports. Khabib got injured. They might have been scheduled 4 times, but it never happened. Tony Ferguson has an idea. Chael, this dude had lost 8 straight fights in the UFC, goes out and boxes, gets a dub, and now he's calling for that fight to finally happen. Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov on the White House lawn. Chael, are you in? Tony Ferguson is ready to vanquish the Russian giant, Khabib Nurmagomedov.
My favorite rumor of the week, and we've got this hot potato going with this White House card. I mean, I've never known that a venue could be such a star. Now, I have seen it. I saw it with Sphere, but I've never seen it any other time in my life. And now this venue has become the star. My favorite rumor of the week was Daniel Cormier versus Brock Lesnar. I actually liked that one. But there is something to Khabib and Tony, just because they have that past and they got those 5 fights. Listen, 5 times this fight fell through. One of them, I want to tell you a real quick story, but one of them, Tony was doing media at a studio at Fox where you and I both worked. In fact, you might have even been on that day, and Tony slips on a cord. No one believes him. I mean, this is like the world's worst excuse. Daniel, I happen to know this cord. This cord, I've never seen a more slippery subject in my life. Like wet ice on glass is not as slippery as this cord. I called an old friend, Tim. I call him on his birthday. This is about 10 months after Tony slips. I said, and we have a nice conversation. I say, Tim, tell the crew I said hello. And he goes, Chael, you must not know. He said, I don't work there anymore. I said, Tim, what happened? He was a lifer. He did like 30 years. He said, I have a full disability. I said, Tim, what happened? I would have called and checked on you. He slipped on the same cord that Tony went down on. He broke a rib. The rib punctures his lung. Like, I'm telling you, this whole mystery cord, it existed. I saw it.
It was real.
It was real.
It was real, man. Tony fell on that cord. And that was one of the more odd ones. Could you imagine, though? Could you imagine being the person that works and is responsible for that, and a fighter in the main event trips on a cord? Hey, we had good relationships with everybody there. The heads that were down whenever that happened was crazy. But it felt like that fight was cursed the whole time. But I got to tell you something, Chael. Tony Ferguson beat like a YouTube guy in that fight, and I was so happy that he won. But I don't need to see him fight MMA no more, Chael. I just don't. Because if Tony, not even to think about the Khabib Nurmagomedov side, because that is so far from ever happening, Khabib fighting again. The moment Khabib sat on the top 25 UFC fighters of all time and told us that they had offered him $40 million and he said no, I said, this dude, he's never fighting. So calling him out is like calling out the Pope. Hey, Pope, you want to fight MMA? It's like, it's not going to happen. He's not going to fight him. But I don't need to see Tony Ferguson fight, because even though I saw him win that boxing match, even though I saw him pretend to be getting ready to fight MMA, he's doing elbows and all kind of crazy stuff with boxing gloves on. Every time you schedule him for an MMA fight, I will think about Nate Diaz submitting him. I will think about Michael Chiesa submitting him. I will think about all those 8 fights that I saw back to back to back. where a once great fighter, Chael, a guy that people had nightmares about. But when he beat up on Josh Thompson was good. He cut him up. The way he broke down Anthony Pettis over the course of their fight to where Pettis just kind of fell down, Pettis was good. But every time I watched him lose and lose and lose, I saw a shell of the person that Tony Ferguson used to be stepping into the octagon. And that's all I would think about if he was ever scheduled to fight MMA again. I think he should keep doing this boxing where these YouTubers try to make a name off of his name and then he beats them. That's what I like seeing. Because, Chael, he's getting like 500 grand when he does that. And good for Tony.
Yeah, sure. No, the real premise, the real moral of this story is just to support Dana's thesis, which is everybody wants on this card. Mm-hmm. So when you have these old guys come out, or these guys that aren't even under contract, they're with different organizations, they're doing a different sport like boxing, and they're trying to get on a card, I think it just adds. The White House happens to be the biggest star in the UFC right now. And I do find that very interesting. Dana, I got to ask you something. I do not ask you this to embarrass you. I saw this yesterday for the first time, and I was wondering if it was AI, but it was a press conference. The press conference completes. You go to stand up, and you go down. Did that happen?
I fell. Yeah,
what happened, though? Because Dana was pissed. Did the floor give out, or you just slipped?
It was a cord. It was a cord,
Was it really?
It was a cord behind me. I fall down. But, Chael, I'll be honest. I pretended a little bit. I was embarrassed, so I just acted really hurt. I needed to feign real injury so that people would not talk about how goofy and clumsy I was to fall. Hey, Chael, we're veterans, man. We know how to fall and roll, fall and grab your leg. Like, Chael, if anybody knows how to fall, it's me. I've fallen down thousands of times in my life wrestling. But, yeah, I pretended I was really hurt because the moment I got outside and got back to the car, I was like, oh, I'm good.
Well, it does put you in a tough spot. Like, do you just jump up to your feet? Do you milk it? Do you stay down? And as you're processing that, a beat goes by and then another beat goes by. But I just saw it. I don't remember. I feel like I would have remembered it. But it was Dana's face, man. Dana was upset. And that's why I thought there must have been something that snagged your chair.
It was a cord, Chael. It was a cord so bad. Hey, Chael, everybody wants on the White House, but hey, certain people may want on, and I'm not supposed to talk about this. This was not in the notes, and this tells you that it's kind of like he's fallen a little bit far because him saying that would have always gotten it. But Conor McGregor said for him, Conor McGregor was saying he wanted on the White House. Now, for Conor McGregor to be on the White House, hold on. I want to make sure I don't mess this up. For Conor McGregor to be on the White House, Conor McGregor wants, $100 million. No, seriously. Conor wants $100 million to be on the White House card, and he wants 100 golden visas. Remember the president was talking about golden visas the other day? He wants 100 of those for his family and friends, and he wants $100 million. So Conor's essentially saying, while we're saying everybody wants on the White House, Conor's saying, no, you need me on the White House, and you're going to pay to get me on the White House. Like, come on, Chael. $100 million and 100 golden visas?
I saw it, and he finished it. He had a third statement, which is, I don't take entertaining you fans lightly. And Air likes to play a game called Two Truths and a Lie. This was two lies and a truth. There's no 100 million. There's no 100 golden visas. By the way, the number one rule on getting a golden visa, you don't tell anybody you got a golden visa. I mean, not for nothing, right? Like, this is part of the script. I appreciate it. I appreciate that the entertainer is coming back. I will tell you, this sport is more fun with Conor. That really is true. I don't know how much I buy that we're booking a main event 10 months in advance. I don't know how much I buy it. But the sport is more fun with Conor. That's the truth.
You think that he doesn't really want 100 million? Like, you think like he's just kind of like putting on like, okay, this is fun. I'm going to say I want the most. Because honestly, he's essentially asking for $200 million. Because the golden visa is $1 million apiece. He wants $200 million to do something that 745 people would do for free.
And Daniel, when I read it, and perhaps you have it right, I'm not arguing with you, but when I read it, I thought that he was saying, this is what I've been getting. This is already done. what I got for doing this is 100 million and the 100 gold visas. I didn't think that he was saying this is what I'm going to need. So it was a work. It was part of the show. He did 100 million. That was his number with Floyd. That absolutely never happened. But this is the way the story goes, and I don't blame him for doing it. Listen, Conor has a contract, in all fairness. And when Conor got that contract, that was very lucrative. It wasn't just to be a star. It was also to be fighting for world championships. These things aren't happening. So we were going to defer back to the contract, which is the most beautiful contract in the company.
In UFC history.
But we're looking at about 12 million, and that's a great payout.
Yeah. I thought that was funny. I thought it was funny, but I also thought it was funny that Air didn't put it in the rundown, because that kind of tells you, like, yeah, Conor on that stuff, man. Like, if it ain't in the rundown and Conor said it, then nobody believes it. And Glenn, by the way, no, you still didn't convince me. Conor is not going into the main event. Can you believe he came on our group message, Chael, and he's trying to drop, oh, yeah, you're crazy. Like, can you believe he showed up? Glenn hasn't been around for the last couple weeks. He's been dealing with WWE. All of a sudden, he steps in with his opinion like it's truth.
And Glenn, in that perspective, is a fan like us, but I don't feel that way. I feel like when the boss shares something that he's letting us in on inside scoop. So you always have to kind of take it with a grain of salt. It's one of those interesting things. But I will tell you this. Conor McGregor will get the visas and the 100 million before Tony Ferguson gets on with Khabib.
Yeah, that is absolute. Yes, because Khabib ain't doing it. All right, Chael. Paddy Pimblett said, or he pulls a Chael Sonnen, right? Because, oh my God, you were so good on the mic, Chael. Take a bow, my friend. It'll never get old. I go watch Chael Sonnen clips on YouTube because it was hilarious, dog. I couldn't believe it. I actually couldn't believe that the kid from Oregon that I wrestled with my whole life was acting the way that he was acting. But boy, you were awesome. You were doing great. But Paddy Pimblett goes, I want to fight Ilia, whenever, wherever. Do it in Spain in front of your fake countrymen because you're really German. I'd love to come and punch your face in front of 90,000 people, enemy territory. For me, because the Bernabeu is a shithole. That's like one of the most beautiful stadiums. It's a $2 billion stadium. It's beautiful.
He called it a dump.
He called it a dump. He called him German. He literally went and insulted him in every way that he could, Chael. What do you make of that as the king of trash talk?
The biggest fights in history, and we got to bring boxing into this as well, but they're actually not title fights or main events. They have to do with grudge fights or they're nationalistic, just for example, and sometimes it's even an ethnicity, which nobody wants to touch on, but boy, Pacquiao ran with it, Canelo runs with it, they come together. I'm just sharing with you, these are the biggest fights in history. So if Paddy is really trying to get this fight, and I feel like Paddy's in a pole position, I feel like he's going to be in there with them. They've already done the face-off, not for nothing. But he must not know it. It must not be done. And if he is taking it to another level where he is bringing in the entire country, he's going to get an entire... I played this game where you can't get the guy, so go to the country, insult them, then they'll go to the guy and say, you got to step forward to represent us. I mean, I know...
hero.
Yeah, you got to be the hero. You're starting to put pressure on him. You're getting people to weigh in on social media and get behind an idea and a concept. It tells me... My guess is one that Paddy does not have the fight, and I thought he did at one point, but it tells me that he doesn't have the fight, but it also tells me he's sincere that he wants the fight. He's very calculated. He is very good. I mean, he is the new big star on the microphone. I'm not even sure when Conor returns. I mean, in all fairness, that would be a very close battle. Paddy wants this. Paddy is a hungry, but behind the facade and the entertainer sits a dirty, rotten cage fighter just like you and I, that has a dream, and he's going to go through whatever he has to make that dream come true. I appreciated it.
And you know, Chael, like you talk about the White House as a venue that's becoming the massive star. In Spain, that stadium where Real Madrid plays, it's like going to church. They love that place. They love that football club. Paddy then keeps insult the country, insult their football club, insult Ilia Topuria. You get a fight. That is exactly what you do. You go to the things that matter the most, and you hit them, and you hit them again, and you hit them again, and then eventually you get the fight. But I gotta ask you this though: can Paddy win, Chael? Like seriously, when you think he's a plus 600, I think Eric, could you throw that in there, Paddy and Ilia? I think he's plus 600. So for all the talk, Chael, can he win? Would you feel confident watching Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia and go, you know what, man? I might side with Pimblett.
Ilia mania is a very real phenomenon right now. I mean, the fellow fighters are saying, you've got the rankings right. That is our pound for pound GOAT. Like, it's not greatly disputed. We're now having boxers come out. He's getting a back and forth with Bud Crawford to the point that TJ Dillashaw on Rampage weighed in on it yesterday and started picking sides of who would win that fight. I mean, Ilia is really big. If people have this confidence that he could go over to boxing, no matter how silly that idea is, it does just speak to this Ilia. But I will tell you, Paddy the Baddy's the real deal. Paddy the Baddy's the bigger guy. Paddy the Baddy is equally as young. Paddy the Baddy's on a 7-fight win streak. I have seen nothing from Paddy the Baddy, and I looked for it. I thought I would find it. It turned out I did it. I have seen nothing from Paddy the Baddy's performances that would disqualify him from having the potential of being a world champion. So when I put him against Ilia, I'll tell you, he might be the right number one contender.
Yeah, Ilia's minus 600 to minus 625 to Pimblett's plus 450 to plus 455. It's in that range. So Topuria would be a massive favorite going into that fight. But you're right. Topuria mania is, I mean, it's far. Chael, he walks in, he walks into these fighter meetings. His whole family just dressed to the nines, Chael. They get up in the morning and they put on these neutral colors, man. And the little boy can box. I mean, have you seen the little boy hitting pads?
He's so handsome. He's so cute, that little guy.
The little boy's got like this stupid haircut. He can box. He's a handsome kid. The wife's beautiful. The daughter's beautiful. Ilia is beautiful. I mean, the son walks into the ring with a damn red rose afterwards. I mean, what am I watching? Is this Desperado? I mean, what are we watching here, Chael? It's the craziest thing in that it's easy to get drawn in. But at the end of the day, Ilia has those moments because he can fight. He can really, really fight. So I don't know if I think it's unfair to compare people to Conor McGregor. I really do. I don't think anybody will ever reach that level of stardom. But I believe if there is a category that you could compare Ilia to Conor and it'd be just, it's the fact that he had all that hype and he's lived up to it. I don't know that he ever becomes a star, Conor does, but I believe he has lived up to the hype and the expectation at a level that was thrust on him from the moment he got to the UFC, and he should be very proud of that. Bro,
I agree. I agree. And I love the way that you categorize the family, by the way, because that wife and that son, that really is the Miss Elizabeth to the Macho Man. She stays quiet. She's a little bit mysterious. She's purely there to support him, or at least this is the way that the story and the cameras pick it up. She never tries to steal the spotlight, and there is something that is very endearing about that family photo they do at the end. I agree with you. The red rose, the whole bit, it works.
Yeah, and the gal's a businesswoman and a model. She does her own thing, but when they're in that light, in that world, it's all Ilia, man, and that's beautiful. Alex Pereira next week fights for the UFC light heavyweight championship again against Magomed Ankalaev. Alex Pereira is generally a pretty normal, nice. Look, Pereira's the best. If I'm being honest, he's so cool. He's a friendly guy, but he seemed peeved at Magomed Ankalaev the other day. He said Ankalaev was hiding from him at the PI. Come on, man. You believe he was hiding from him, Chael?
No, in all fairness, if I saw an opponent there and he had got to the mat first, I would stay on the other side of the door and wait until he was done. Like, I think that's just the way that you do it. I don't think that I would walk out and start working out next to him, or, you know, even politely, like, okay, this is my space and this is your. It's a little bit weird. I would just stay on this side and I would wait. Not to mention, those guys don't speak the same language. I mean, not for nothing. You can't just roll in and say hi. You could give a wave. You don't know what his temperament is. I mean, there's a level of respect. The way I read the story, that Ankalaev saw him, so he stayed in a different room until Pierre was done, and then he came out, I thought was the respectful thing to do. I think that's the way that everybody else would do it. I was surprised that it bothered Pierre, but I liked it. I mean, this fight is starting to look very different as we get to 10 and 12 days before it. I mean, this fight really had no buildup. Don't forget, the fans did not demand a rematch. There was not controversy in the first match. Pereira didn't even ask for the rematch. Ankalaev beats Pereira, and then Ankalaev calls out Pereira. It was a very unusual thing. And I have just wondered, because Alex did not say, I want my belt back. I can fix it. I was hurt. He never came out with an excuse. He never came out with a story. I thought, how bad does he want to do this? But I'm starting to get the answer to that question. And he wants to do this real bad. And he does not like Ankalaev. And when you start finding these little things that are truly nothing, but in your mind, you make them into something, it's just because you're trying to get into the right headspace to go into war. And I didn't know that Pereira cared this much. I appreciate that he told this story. As much as I do believe that there's nothing on it, I appreciate that he's created. Look, I've watched John Jones work himself up as well, just because that's the position he needs.
Was Stipe talking about his kid? Remember when he said Stipe talking about his kids?
Poor Stipe was innocent. He did nothing of the sort, but John needed to believe it just to get himself in that frame of mind. I think that Pierre is showing us a little bit of that too, man, and I like those true competitors.
I don't think Stipe talked about that man's kids, Chael.
Not a
Stipe
word.
Wouldn't talk about anyone's kids. Stipe's
Not one word.
Guy.
Total misunderstanding. Whatever happened there, Stipe was 100% innocent.
Stipe was like, wait, what? He just was confused.
He had no idea.
Yeah, I like it. I like seeing this from Alex because in that fight, Alex was much less aggressive than we're used to seeing him. I think that you're right. He's getting ready for war and understands that this is probably the most dangerous fight that he could ever have. Because while he did a great job defending takedowns in the first fight, he wasn't able to get his offense going because he was so worried about defending takedowns in the first fight. So Ankalaev did exactly what he needed to do. He went 0 for 8 on takedowns. I don't even know that he was intending to take him down. But by every time he would hit him at the hips with his shots, he made Alex's hands come down and he made Alex fight on the back foot. Alex never was able to go forward. That's one thing that you can watch in Pereira's fights. When he's aggressive and he's attacking, he's the best. But when he's going backwards, he's not as good. That's what Ankalaev was able to make him do the entire 25 minutes of the fight. But Pereira getting a different mindset, him getting angry, it to me tells me that he's completely locked in on trying to reclaim that championship. Now, the one area where you said he never really called for the rematch publicly, but do you remember when he got hacked and he went at the UFC? Remember when he got hacked? That tells me that there was consideration that somebody else is going to get that fight. And then he got hacked at the right time. That showed that he was mad that he wasn't going to get that rematch. So he's always wanted it. But now he gets it and he's trying to rev himself up for said rematch. Chael, did anybody ever hide from you? Like, did you ever come into contact with an opponent and they ran away? Because John and I never hid. The moment we would come close to each other, it was like a magnet that pulled us together to start trying to fight each other.
I can't really say that. My UFC debut was against Babalu, and I was in a hot tub at the Mohegan Sun, and Babalu came in, and he had his towel, and he was coming to the hot tub. He saw me. He turned and left. I acted like I didn't see him. I didn't say hi. I even thought this is going to be a little bit weird. He saw me. He turned and left. But if the roles were reversed, I would have done it the same way. I was at the freestyle wrestling event. I get called out by Tito Ortiz. This is just like 3 weeks ago. When I get back to the hotel bar, I'm going to grab a Coke at the bar. As I get up to it, Tito's at the bar. I just went to the elevator and used the vending machine. So, I mean, I've been on both sides of that. Sometimes it's better to just keep a little bit of space. And if I was at the PI, I know that building so well, so I've got the visual laid out. And if I was Ankalaev and about to bring my team in and I saw the other guy got here first, I would let him finish his workout. I would have done the same thing Ankalaev did.
Yeah, I mean, I would have probably gone away from him, but yeah, I don't walk away. I was always so angry. I didn't even realize like how angry I was when I was fighting, that I would always try to go at the guy, which was so stupid, by the way, because you don't get paid to fight in the street. But yeah, I was a very angry guy. There's this thing where sometimes black men are very angry. I was an angry black man during my career because all I wanted to do was fight everybody. Like, Daniel, stop fighting everybody. What is wrong with you?
Daniel, I woke up every day with a chip on my shoulder, and even specifically toward Anderson Silva. Like, I thought this was my moral obligation to beat him because he was such a terrible guy. When I look back on it now, he had never done anything to me. I never saw him even do anything to anybody else, but I believed it. I believed it for years. And I'm not really sure why. Like, there's something about having to get yourself in that frame of mind if you're going to get out of bed at 5 in the morning and start running.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. You got to be like, you got to be in the right frame of mind. Especially you want to kill somebody all the time. Yeah, that's the best. Hey, Charles Oliveira and Mateus Gamrot are fighting in Rio de Janeiro. Bro, Gamrot got emotional when he got that fight. Did you ever get emotional? When you went to Anderson Silva, right? When you got the call that you were fighting for the title, did you get emotional?
No, I did not. I can remember that day perfectly. The first time, I fought Anderson twice. The first time I got the call, I was driving to practice. I get a call from Dana White, who had never called me before. I don't even have his phone number saved. I answer the phone, and he says, "Hey, it's Dana." And he says, "You want to fight Anderson Silva?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to fight Anderson Silva." And he goes, "Great, because I went on SportsCenter 6 minutes ago and I announced it." So I go home and I watch it, and he goes on there and he calls me Chael Sonnen. He got my whole name wrong, but he was threatening. He was mad at Anderson at the time. Anderson had just fought Damian Maia, and it was a bad fight. And Dana said, he went on SportsCenter. I said, "I promise you, Chael Sonnen will take him down. You will see Anderson on the ground. I promise you." And this was the selling point, but my point is there was really no time to get emotional. It was very matter of fact. I'm on the freeway. I got to get to practice. I got to change lanes, and say, it was one of these things. But I was definitely very excited. I got a call one time to fight John Jones, and I got it from Kevin Iole. And Kevin said, "I was hoping that you could respond to the news." And I had no idea what he's talking about. He thought I was working him. He said, "Chael, Dana just announced you're fighting John and you're going to do a season of The Ultimate Fighter." I had never been told this. Now, they had felt me out for, "Would you be interested in this?" But it was never more than that. So at any rate, in that moment, I did begin screaming, "Yes, yes." I remember being very excited. And Kevin thought I was like working him, but I wasn't. He's the one that revealed the news to me.
That happens.
What about you? What about you? Did you ever get excited? I mean, your trajectory was always for a championship. You came over undefeated.
Hey, first off, hats off to Kevin Iole, who just retired, right? Long, great career in media, in fighting. So hats off to Kev. Yeah, chill. I remember when I first got the call that I was going to fight John Jones. I was going to replace Alexander Gustafsson. Before we fought in that lobby, I was like, yes, thank God I'm going to fight for the UFC championship. I got excited, not emotional, right? I never felt like, oh, Gamrot was almost crying because his last opportunity at those types of big moments, they didn't go well. So I can see where he might have thought, I'm a long ways away from sharing the octagon with one of these guys that matter, especially after losing to Dan Hooker, right? Because when you lose to Dan Hooker, Hooker has always been very good. He hasn't proven to be the Oliveiras and the Gaethjes and Islams and those guys. So then it might make you feel like you're further away than you actually are. And yeah, so he got emotional about getting an opportunity to fight a former champion in a main event in Rio de Janeiro. But yeah, I never got emotional, Chael. Like, it was always kind of like, I know what I want and what is supposed to happen. My intent is to always make it happen. And when I got those times, I think I was always kind of right at the right time for the call. So it was like almost like appreciation, but not necessarily emotional.
Sure. And Daniel, I kind of shared in Gamrot's excitement. I mean, not to the point of tears, but as a fan, I have never been more excited for a Gamrot fight. His big opportunity was kind of against Hooker, but he had to come out the other side of that fight. Going into it, it wasn't quite the same thing. And I'm just sharing that as far as a matchup goes, this makes a lot of sense. I don't know who to favor in this. I think 5 rounds is good for Charles. I think overall control is good for Gamrot. Gamrot's got a very similar style to Sarukian, just by example, which caused a couple of conflicts for Charles. I don't know who to favor. And I haven't seen the odds, but I'll be very curious when they come out. I will be very curious who the people like in that. But I've never seen a Gamrot fight that I've been more excited for. I think from a booking standpoint, this is perfect.
Yeah, this is perfect, man. I think it's awesome. And I love that Charles took the fight because Charles was talking some trash. And then eventually he was like, these guys don't want to fight. They're lying. And then when they said Gamrot, he was immediately kind of like, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's the fight I want. But now he takes it. And with his jiu-jitsu, he's dangerous to everybody. This weekend, Carlos Ulberg takes on Dominick Reyes in Perth, Western Australia. Ulberg is riding hot, has always been a hot young prospect all the way up to number 3 in the world now. And Dominick Reyes, bro, has righted the ship and is back on a championship trajectory. First, Chael, How surprised are you that Reyes has been able to work his way back to where he is today? And how impressed are you by Ulberg?
Yeah, well, and a two-part question. First off, Reyes for me was the uncrowned world champion. I don't know that I ever really call foul ball after a judge's decision. I get where they can be close. I really strongly felt that Reyes won 3 rounds and that John won 2 rounds, and I was so confident in that moment they were going to announce new champion. And when you have a high like that, man, that can go 2 ways.
Yeah.
You can use that as a springboard into something else, but you can also think, I've arrived. And as soon as you think that, boy, it just changes things. And I think that did happen to Reyes, and he caught himself. And he had to change the way that he was preparing. He had to really get back to that moment. He's just done such a good job in returning to the main event. But then when you ask me about Ulberg, there's no easy fights, particularly for Dominick Reyes. Everybody he's fought is one punch away from knocking him out. I mean, he takes on these big hitters. He comes out and plays a dangerous style. He's tall. He keeps his chin exposed a little bit because he's got the height. He's got power himself. A lot of times he gets away with it. But Ulberg's a big problem, and Ulberg's a lot better on the ground than people give him credit for. I will tell you that. He needs to be on top, but he scrambles well. He finds a way there. I like Ulberg. He hasn't been in a 5-round situation. That always creates a question mark, but I feel going into it that that's a test that he's going to pass.
I love this fight for both of these guys because it gives them an opportunity to propel themselves forward into something big. We have a massive fights in the light heavyweight division next week. One, Khalil Rountree and Yuri Prochazka is going to be a banger. The winner of that fight could potentially fight the winner of the main event next week at some point at the beginning of next year. Then it puts the other guys in line for who could fight at the UFC in the summer. Dominick Reyes has his eyes on that. He deserves to have his eyes on that because of all that he's done. You're right, Chael. It goes one of 2 ways. And for Reyes, it went the complete opposite way. You cannot go from essentially beating John Jones in the eyes of so many, except for the 3 people that matter the most, and just come off of that and continue to just go up. It takes time to get over the disappointment and then work your way back to the point that you are fighting for world championships. He did that. There were so many times where people wrote him off. I wrote him off. I thought that day that he fought that wonderful fight was going to be the thing that we always remember Dominick Reyes for. And nothing more. His mental strength and everything allowed him to get back to where he is. But this weekend, bro, he's got Carlos Ulberg, who has shown, outside of his debut, right? He has shown that he's got great striking, he's big, he's a tremendous athlete, he's fast, and he can knock you out. It's all he's done. And now he's fighting guys that match his style. These dudes, Chael, that are great strikers in the light heavyweight division, they don't have to deal with the wrestler. It's a whole bunch of strikers fighting each other. So if you're a striker, one, you're going to always be in fun fights because nobody's trying to take you down. And 2, you have a chance to win. You always are in danger when all you can do is strike. And both of these guys just strike. So I think it's like a toss-up matchup because both can just knock each other out. What I do believe, though, is that someone goes to sleep. Now, to that whole point that I was making about the importance of this fight in the division, Chael, the winner of this fight truly could find themselves in a White House situation, fighting for the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. They win this weekend, 7-3. Whoever wins, now you're literally next after next weekend when the 2 winners of those fights end. They are aligned. 1 week before the main event, 1 week before the number 1 contenders fight. It's perfect. It's perfect for you.
I see it the same way, Daniel. I don't mean to interrupt your thought, but so the common belief is Prochazka. But I have a little bit of pushback, particularly if it's Pereira that comes out. We've seen that fight. As a matter of fact, we've seen that fight twice. UFC tends to favor parity. We, the fans, seem to favor parity. So I agree with you. The number 1 contender at light heavyweight is very far from being decided, regardless of the rankings holding Prochazka in the top spot.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Prochazka wins. If Prochazka wins, and Pereira wins, the winner of this weekend could potentially fight for the belt, dude.
Yes.
Seriously. And the last time we got a guy fighting for a championship that was ranked a little bit lower was Khalil Rountree, and him and Pereira put on a masterpiece. That was a great fight from Salt Lake City. So light heavyweight's interesting. It's good right now, Chael. Middleweight's fun. Light heavyweight's fun. Every division is fun. It's a good time to be part of the UFC. Guys, Thank you for watching Good Guy, Bad Guy. For Chael Sonnen, I'm Daniel Cormier. We will see you guys on Monday. Peace.